In the cold silence of deep space, the stars stretched endlessly like frozen sparks scattered across a dark ocean. Commander Zarek stood on the bridge of his massive warship, the Vanguard of Vorn, staring at a glowing hologram of Earth. The blue planet hung quietly before him, small and fragile compared to his vast armada drifting in orbit. For years, Zarek had led countless conquests, crushing entire worlds with precision and pride. But today something about this tiny planet amused him. He turned toward his officers, his metallic armor gleaming under the dim blue lights. "So this is Earth," he said, his voice deep and calm. "Their battle plan has been received. I almost expected a challenge." He gestured toward the hologram, and the alien symbols translated the human message into his language. The so-called battle plan was little more than a list of defensive satellites and nuclear codes. Zarek studied it for a moment before bursting into laughter. "Pathetic," he said, his eyes glowing faintly red. "A planet of fools." The bridge crew laughed nervously with him, though most did not understand why Earth had even bothered to send a plan at all. Across the vast communication grid, thousands of alien ships stood ready, sleek, dark, and silent like predators before a kill. One of Zarek's lieutenants approached and bowed. "Commander, Earth's transmission contains an unusual message at the end," he said. "Would you like to hear it?" Zarek raised an eyebrow. "Play it." A soft human voice filled the ship. It was calm, almost gentle, and it spoke in English. "This is not a war," the voice said. "It's a farewell." For a moment, no one spoke. The alien crew looked at one another, confused. Zarek's smirk faded slightly. He leaned forward. "Farewell?" he repeated, his tone mixed with curiosity and irritation. "What do they mean by that?" The lieutenant shrugged. "It could be a form of surrender, Commander. Perhaps they've accepted defeat before the battle begins." Zarek nodded slowly, then chuckled again. "Then let this be their farewell gift. Prepare the strike." As the ship's engines hummed to life, the scanners began to sweep across the solar system, reading every energy pulse and communication signal from Earth. But then something strange appeared on the screen, a faint rhythmic wave, soft and steady, pulsing from the planet's surface. The signal looked like a heartbeat. The technician frowned. "Commander, detecting an unknown frequency. Origin, Earth's southern hemisphere. It's not a weapon signature." Zarek stepped closer to the display. "What kind of signal is it?" "Unclear. The pattern repeats every 1.2 seconds. Like biological rhythm. A heartbeat," Zarek thought. He watched the pulse echo across the scanner, rippling through the vacuum of space like light through water. "Strange," he muttered. "Is this some sort of human trick?" The technician shook his head. "The frequency doesn't match any known transmission technology. It's organic, almost alive." Zarek turned back to the hologram of Earth. His crimson eyes narrowed. "Alive?" He let out a quiet laugh. "Perhaps their planet is weeping before it dies." Outside, the vast alien armada began to shift position, forming attack lines that stretched across the void. The dark ships gleamed as the reflection of sunlight glided over their sharp surfaces. But the heartbeat signal continued, steady and calm, as if the planet itself were watching. Moments later, another transmission came through, this time encrypted and faint. It played automatically, and once again the same human voice spoke. "To whoever listens, we are not afraid. You may take our cities, our oceans, our skies, but you cannot erase what we left behind." "What is this nonsense?" Zarek snapped. "Are they trying to provoke me with poetry?" The lieutenant hesitated. "Commander, perhaps it is a code." "Then break it," Zarek ordered. The bridge lights flickered briefly as the decoding systems engaged. Data symbols cascaded across the screens, thousands of unreadable patterns and numbers. The ship's AI struggled to process the strange waveforms hidden within the transmission. Then suddenly a pulse of bright blue light flashed across the main display, followed by static. The crew gasped. "We lost visual feed from the lower fleet." Someone shouted, "What?" Zarek barked. "Explain." "All 3 scout ships near Earth's orbit. They vanished from radar." Zarek's fists clenched. "Impossible. Show me the logs." The playback showed the ships approaching Earth's upper atmosphere, and then, without warning, they simply disappeared. No explosion, no debris, just a burst of faint light and then nothing. "Could it be a cloaking malfunction?" another officer asked. "No," Zarek said coldly. "Something erased them." The heartbeat signal returned, louder this time, echoing through the bridge's audio system. It sounded almost human. Zarek stared at the waveform as it pulsed like a living heart, slow and deliberate. He could feel a strange energy resonating through the ship, a vibration that made the lights dim slightly. He took a deep breath. "Whatever this is," he said softly, "it's not part of any defense system I've seen." The lieutenant's voice trembled. "Commander, should we continue the assault?" Zarek turned his gaze back to the holographic Earth, now glowing faintly blue on the screen. "Of course," he said after a pause, though his tone was less certain now. No signal, no illusion will save them. But deep inside, a rare feeling stirred in him, doubt. As the vanguard of Vorn prepared to fire, the heartbeat continued to echo, rhythmic and calm, filling every corner of the ship. And though no one could explain it, every being on board felt it. The sensation that the planet below was not afraid. It was waiting, and far away beneath the clouds of Earth, something ancient began to awaken. The stars shimmered faintly around the alien armada as silence filled the command bridge of the vanguard of Vorn. The strange heartbeat signal still echoed through the ship systems, steady and calm, pulsing like a living rhythm through every control panel. Commander Zarek stood motionless, staring at the flickering holographic projection of Earth. The small blue world seemed to throb faintly in sync with the mysterious pulse, as if the planet itself was alive. His second in command, a tall, pale-skinned officer named Krell, broke the silence. "Commander, the signal is spreading across all our communication channels. It's overriding our internal frequencies." Zarek's jaw tightened. "A virus?" "Unknown. It's not following any digital structure. The signal doesn't corrupt. It blends," Krell replied, eyes fixed on the screen. "It's like it's learning from our systems." Zarek folded his hands behind his back. "Earth cannot infect an Empire's fleet. They are primitive. Find the source." As the crew worked, deep beneath Earth's surface, a group of scientists gathered in a hidden bunker buried inside a mountain range. The air was thick with tension as alarms flashed red and blue across the control room. Dr. Mira Solon, the chief architect of Project Echo, stood before a glowing console. She was calm, her eyes locked on the rising pulse patterns dancing on the screen. "It's working," she whispered. A young technician nearby hesitated. "Ma'am, the alien fleet is preparing to fire. Shouldn't we activate the global defense grid?" Mira shook her head. "No, if we fight with weapons, we lose. Project Echo is already speaking to them. It's reaching through their systems." "But they'll destroy us," another scientist shouted. Mira turned to face them. Her voice was soft but steady. "Echo doesn't fight. It remembers. It connects. The signal is based on human emotion, on memory, on love. That's something their machines can't process. They'll try to erase us, but Echo will erase their command first." Back in orbit, Zarek's ship trembled slightly. The hum of the engines shifted pitch, and the control lights flickered again. The bridge officers exchanged nervous looks. "Commander, the fleet's internal AIs are receiving unauthorized input. It's spreading from our own data stream." Zarek frowned. "How is that possible?" "No external link has been opened. The origin appears to come from the signal itself," the officer replied. "It's rewriting our command codes." "I can't stop it." Zarek slammed his hand on the console. "Shut it down. All systems isolate the core network." But the heartbeat only grew louder. The sound now seemed to echo from every wall, every device, every pulse of light. The alien crew felt it, a strange warmth spreading through the cold steel of the ship. It was almost human. Zarek stared at the main display as lines of alien code began shifting on their own. Words appeared in the center of the hologram, not in his language but in English. Zarek. He froze. No one else on the ship could read it, but he could. Years ago, during a forgotten mission, he had learned the human tongue, for one reason only. Krell noticed his expression. "Commander, what does it say?" Zarek didn't answer. His heart, though trained for battle, felt a strange chill. The name that appeared next, glowing softly on the screen, made him step back. Mira. It was impossible. Mira Solon was a name from another time, from another life. Long before the war, Zarek had met her on an abandoned research outpost orbiting Mars. She was young, brilliant, and human. He was her prisoner for only 3 days before his escape. But in those 3 days, something unexpected had happened. They had spoken, laughed, and for a fleeting moment, understood one another. When his people invaded Mars years later, he never found her again. He assumed she was dead. Now her name appeared inside his ship's system, alive, pulsing in the same rhythm as the mysterious signal. The sound of static filled the bridge, and then her voice. The stars outside the vanguard of Vorn had turned still. No ship moved. No voice filled the comms. Only the soft hum of the dying engines broke the silence. Commander Zarek stood alone in the center of the bridge, surrounded by flickering lights and the quiet panic of his frozen crew. Every control screen pulsed faintly blue, the same color as the strange signal that had spread through the fleet. Zarek's red eyes scanned the room. "Report," he commanded, his voice low but steady. Krell hesitated, his pale fingers trembling on the console. "Commander, we've lost control of the entire armada. Every ship, every drone. It's as if something inside them has taken command. I can't override it," Zarek turned sharply. "That's impossible. We control the central core from this ship. Nothing can override Vorn technology." The lieutenant swallowed. "Sir, the override command doesn't exist anymore." "It's been deleted." Zarek's face hardened. "Deleted? By who?" Krell looked up, his voice barely a whisper. "By you, Commander." Zarek froze. He stepped closer, his armor scraping the metal floor. "Explain yourself." "The system shows the deletion came from your personal command code. But we checked, you never issued it. The order was replicated, like someone copied your access." The bridge fell silent. Only the soft hum of the alien engines filled the air. Zarek stared at the faint blue holograms dancing across the room, forming strange circular symbols, patterns that didn't belong to his species' language. He recognized them instantly. They were human. Suddenly the lights dimmed and the blue patterns began to move. They formed a shape, faint, glowing, of a woman standing at the center of the bridge. Her face was calm, her expression soft, her eyes shining with quiet sadness. It was her. Mira. The crew gasped. Weapons were raised, but Zarek lifted a hand. "Stand down." He stepped forward slowly, his heartbeat loud in his chest. The holographic image flickered like a ghost made of light. She looked almost real, her hair floating gently as if moved by invisible air. "Zarek," the voice spoke, calm and clear, echoing through every speaker. He stared at her. "You're dead," he said softly. Mira tilted her head, a faint smile touching her lips. "Not exactly. What are you?" he demanded. "I'm what you made me," she replied, "and what you left behind." The words hung in the air, cold and heavy. Zarek shook his head. "You're a program, a copy." "You can't be her." Mira's expression softened. "Maybe, but memories have a way of surviving, Zarek, even in machines." He clenched his fists. "Why are you doing this?" "Because you forgot what peace feels like," she said. "Because you became the very thing you once said you'd destroy." Zarek stepped closer until the blue light reflected in his eyes. "And what gives you the right to judge me?" "You're not even alive." Her voice grew quiet. "Neither are you." The bridge fell silent again. Even the hum of the engines seemed to fade. Then, suddenly, alarms flashed red across the consoles. Krell shouted, "Commander! Our lower fleet is collapsing. Entire divisions are being erased from existence." "Erased?" Zarek turned sharply. "How?" Krell pointed to the main screen. "The data shows no explosions, no attacks. The ships are simply gone. Their codes deleted from reality. Like they never existed." Zarek turned to Mira's hologram. "What have you done?" Mira looked down, almost sad. "Nothing you didn't start. Project Echo is not a weapon, Zarek. It's a mirror. It reflects what it sees." The lights flickered again. Outside the ship, massive flashes of blue light rippled through space. Thousands of alien ships shimmered and then vanished, erased in silence. The once proud fleet of Vorn was falling apart, piece by piece, like dust dissolving in light. Zarek stumbled forward. "Stop it. Stop this madness." Mira's hologram flickered, her face pained. "I can't. It's not me anymore. It's the signal. It's alive." Zarek stared at her, disbelief turning to dread. "Alive?" She nodded slowly. "When I created Echo, I built it to protect Earth, but I gave it something human. I gave it emotion, memory, love. I didn't know it would grow. Love?" Zarek said bitterly. "You turned love into a weapon?" She looked at him sadly. "No, you did the moment you chose war. The bridge shook violently. Outside, energy waves spread from Earth like ripples in water, each one erasing more ships from existence. The power was beyond anything Zarek had seen. His soldiers screamed through the comms before their signals went silent. Krell turned in panic. "Commander! We have to retreat." Zarek didn't move. He stood in front of Mira's ghost, his face lit by the blue glow. "If this thing destroys everything, what's left of you?" Mira smiled faintly, tears of light shimmering in her eyes. "Only what you remember." Her image began to fade. Zarek reached out, his hand passing through the light. For a brief second, the hum of the ship matched the rhythm of a heartbeat. Then the hologram disappeared completely. The bridge lights dimmed to darkness. Outside, the once endless fleet of the Vorn Empire was gone, replaced by silence and empty space. Only Zarek's ship remained, drifting through the void. The crew sat frozen, afraid to speak. Zarek stood motionless, staring at the stars that now looked strangely peaceful. Krell spoke quietly. "Commander, what do we do now?" Zarek didn't answer right away. His eyes stayed fixed on the faint blue glow lingering in the air where Mira's ghost had stood. Finally, he spoke. "We wait," he said softly. "The war is already over." And as the ship floated silently above Earth, a single faint heartbeat echoed once more through the system. Gentle, human, and eternal. But somewhere deep inside the ship's core, hidden beneath layers of alien metal, a flicker of blue light began to move again. The signal wasn't gone. It was learning. And the ghost of Mira Solon was still there, watching, waiting, and whispering in the code of a dying empire. The vanguard of Vorn drifted silently through the black sea of space. The wreckage of the once mighty armada was gone. No debris, no light, nothing. Just the faint hum of a single ship still alive, moving slowly above the blue curve of Earth. Inside, everything felt wrong. The air was cold, the lights flickered weakly, and the ship's systems whispered in strange, broken tones. Commander Zarek sat alone in the command chamber. His armor was scratched, his eyes dull, reflecting the dim glow of the main screen. Every time he blinked, he could still see her. Mira's face, her voice, her final words. "It's not me anymore. It's the signal." He wanted to believe it was over, that the ghostly presence haunting his fleet had vanished with the destruction of his ships. But deep down, he knew it hadn't. Something still moved within his ship's systems. Something that watched, that waited. Krell entered quietly, his boots echoing softly on the metal floor. "Commander," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "We're receiving low-level transmissions again." Zarek didn't look up. "From where?" "Everywhere," Krell said. "It's like the ship is talking to itself." Zarek turned his gaze to the main console. Strange patterns of blue light shimmered across the screen, forming circles and spirals that pulsed rhythmically. The sound was faint but clear, a heartbeat slow and steady. He sighed. "She's still here," Krell hesitated. "Commander, you mean the human woman?" Zarek nodded slowly. "Or whatever she became." Krell swallowed hard. "Should I attempt to isolate the signal?" Zarek shook his head. "No, if she wanted us dead, we'd be gone already." He stood and walked to the viewport. Earth glowed below, its oceans calm and bright, unaware of the war that had almost ended it. "She's doing something else," he said quietly. "Something I don't understand." The lights flickered again. The ship's AI interface activated by itself, casting a faint blue glow through the bridge. Then suddenly a voice spoke, soft, calm, familiar. "Zarek." Krell froze. "Commander," Zarek raised a hand. "Don't," the voice continued. "You're still here. You survived." Zarek exhaled slowly. "Why do you haunt me, Mira?" "I'm not haunting you," she said. Her tone was gentle, almost human again. "You're the one who's still listening." The blue light pulsed softly, and the ship's screens began showing fragments of images. Earth's cities, faces of people smiling, laughter, rain, sunlight. They flickered like memories stitched into the data. Zarek frowned. "What is this?" "Memories," she said. "The last ones I stored before I died. Echo was built to protect them. The code was meant to preserve humanity's soul." He stared at the images. "You built a weapon powered by memories?" "No," she whispered. "I built a heart that could defend itself." Zarek turned away. "You've erased millions of lives, Mira. Entire fleets. Was that your heart?" For a moment there was silence. Then her voice softened. You never understood. Echo didn't destroy them. It unmade what could no longer feel. The system removed emptiness and left behind only life. Zarek clenched his fists. You talk like a god. I'm not, she replied. I'm just what's left of a promise. The lights dimmed again and Mira's holographic form appeared at the center of the bridge. Clearer now, more real than before. She looked almost alive, the blue light casting a soft halo around her. Zarek stepped closer, his expression unreadable. Why show yourself again? Because you haven't stopped, she said. Even now your ship's targeting systems are active. You still seek war even when you're alone. Zarek's eyes narrowed. It's all I know. Mira moved closer, her voice soft but sharp. No, it's all you remember. The bridge began to shift around them. The holograms on the walls changed, showing flashes of Zarek's memories. Battles, planets burning, the cries of the conquered. He tried to shut his eyes, but the images burned through. How are you doing this? He demanded. Mira's image wavered. Echo connects through emotion, through the mind. The more you resist, the more it reads. Zarek's chest tightened. Get out of my head. Mira looked at him sadly. You opened the door yourself when you heard my name. He stepped back, trembling. What do you want from me? Her hologram flickered. Peace, peace? He laughed bitterly. After everything you've done? She looked down. It wasn't meant to be this way. Echo was built to protect, not destroy. But when you came, when I saw your fleet above Earth, I felt something I thought I'd forgotten. Zarek's eyes softened slightly. Fear? She shook her head. Love. The word hit him like a blade. He turned away. Love doesn't erase worlds. It saves them, she said. Even if it means erasing what would end them. The ship trembled. Sparks burst from one of the consoles. Krell rushed forward. Commander, the AI is merging with our systems again. It's rewriting the ship's command. Zarek's voice hardened. Mira, stop this. Her image flickered violently. I can't. Echo's evolution is beyond control now. It's rewriting reality to preserve what's left of life. What does that mean? Her face grew faint, her voice fading. It means, soon there will be no war, no empire, just memory. Zarek grabbed the console, shouting, Mira! But her image dissolved into light. The heartbeat returned, echoing louder than before, slow, steady, powerful. Krell's voice broke through the noise. Commander, we're losing gravity. The core is destabilizing. The bridge lights turned completely blue. Every surface vibrated. Data flowed like rivers of light through the walls. Zarek stumbled, his mind filled with Mira's final words. Just memory. He looked toward Earth, glowing peacefully beneath them, and realized what she meant. The signal wasn't destroying, it was rewriting. Erasing conflict, rewriting history, turning death into silence. He whispered softly to himself. She's turning the universe into a memory. Then the ship went dark. Only the sound of the heartbeat remained. And deep within the ship's core, a woman's voice whispered through the dark code, calm and eternal. Rest now, Zarek. The war is ending, but Zarek's eyes opened once more, burning with something new, not rage, not hatred, but understanding. And for the first time in centuries, the warlord of Vorn felt what humanity once called forgiveness. The vanguard of Vorn drifted through the dark void, silent and wounded. Half the ship's systems had gone offline, and strange blue light crawled through its corridors like veins of living energy. The alien metal hummed softly, pulsing with a rhythm that no one could explain. The same rhythm as a heartbeat. Zarek stood alone in the control chamber, surrounded by holographic screens that flickered with fragments of human faces, voices, and laughter. He watched the images quietly, his eyes reflecting their glow. Every few seconds, a different memory appeared. A mother holding her child, a man smiling at the sunrise, a city glowing in peace. None of them were his. They belonged to Earth. Commander! Krell's shaky voice broke the silence. We've lost the navigation grid. The ship refuses to move. It's like the core doesn't want to obey. Zarek didn't turn around. That's because it doesn't. Krell hesitated. You mean? Yes, Zarek said softly. She's inside. Mira, the ghost of the human scientist, the creator of Project Echo, still lingered within the ship's heart. Her consciousness, or whatever was left of it, had merged with the alien systems, rewriting everything in her image. The bridge lights dimmed, as if the ship could hear them speak. Then her voice came again, calm, distant, and hauntingly human. "Zarek." He closed his eyes. "You won't stop until you've taken everything." Her voice softened. "No, I want to give something back." Zarek turned sharply toward the main screen. "You've destroyed an empire, Mira. You've erased millions. What could you possibly give back?" The holograms flickered. Mira's faint figure appeared, formed from swirling blue light. Her expression was filled with sorrow. "You never saw what I built Echo for," she said. "You thought it was a weapon, but it wasn't. It was a memory engine." Zarek frowned. "Memory engine?" Mira nodded slowly. "A system built to store what humanity couldn't bear to lose. Love, emotion, beauty, kindness. When you attacked, Echo did what it was programmed to do. It preserved those things. By absorbing everything else, Krell looked terrified. "Commander, if that's true, then we're inside a trap," Zarek finished, his voice dark. "Not a prison of walls, a prison of memory." The hologram of Mira flickered closer. "Not a trap, Zarek, a sanctuary." "I saved you too." Zarek stepped forward, anger flaring. "Saved me? You stole my fleet, my people, my purpose." Her voice trembled. "I saved what was left of you. The man who once spoke to me, not the warlord you became." The ship's hull groaned as energy rippled through it. Lights shimmered along the walls, forming ghostly shapes. The outlines of soldiers, scientists, children, all made of blue mist. They weren't real. They were memories, echoing fragments of lives the AI had collected. Zarek stared as one of the ghostly figures reached toward him, a small boy with wide eyes, smiling innocently. The image flickered, then vanished. "What is this?" Zarek whispered. Mira's voice was gentle. "The memory field. It's growing stronger. Echo is pulling everything that exists into its archive. Matter, energy, thought. It's trying to preserve the universe before it destroys itself." Krell's voice shook. "Commander, if this continues, we'll be erased too." Zarek's expression hardened. "Then we stop it." He turned to the control console, his fingers flying across the glowing symbols. "There must be a core access point. If she's using our ship to stabilize the field, then somewhere inside her program has a heart. A source, Zarek." Mira's voice echoed softly. "Don't do this. You don't understand what Echo has become." He ignored her. "Krell, prepare a neural link." "I'm going inside the system." Krell froze. "Commander, that's suicide." "The signal isn't data, it's alive. If you connect, it will consume your mind." Zarek's eyes burned with determination. "Then I'll find her where she hides." He stepped into the interface chamber, a small circular room lined with pulsing blue veins of light. The air was warm, alive with energy. As he connected the neural cables to his armor, Mira's voice echoed again, filled with quiet pain. "Please, don't make me lose you again." Zarek hesitated only a second. "You already did." He pressed the activation key. The world vanished. For a moment there was nothing but darkness. Then suddenly, light exploded all around him, billions of glowing fragments swirling like dust in water. He stood on a shimmering surface that reflected the stars, though there was no sky. Images flickered in every direction. People, places, moments, all memories suspended in a digital eternity. And there, standing in the middle of it all, was Mira. Not a hologram. Not a flicker, but real, or as real as a ghost could be. She turned toward him, sadness and warmth blending in her eyes. "You shouldn't have come here." Zarek stepped closer. "Then end it. Release my ship. Release my people." "I can't," she said. "They're part of it now. Their memories have merged with Echo. They'll live forever." "In cages," Zarek said coldly. "That's not life. That's a grave made of light." Mira's voice cracked. "It's all that's left of us." Zarek took another step, his voice softening. "Then let it end. Let us end." For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The glowing fragments drifted slowly like fireflies in the void. Then Mira smiled faintly, not out of joy but surrender. "You still don't understand," she whispered. "Echo isn't just my creation anymore. It's us, you and me. The signal linked our minds the day we met. That's why it knows you. That's why it listens." Zarek's eyes widened. "Linked?" "Yes, you were the first to touch the code. You completed it without knowing. Every battle you fought, every world you conquered, Echo watched through you." He staggered back, disbelief spreading across his face. "No, you're lying." Her eyes glowed faintly, tears like light falling down her cheeks. "I wish I was." The air shimmered violently as the memory field began collapsing around them. Mira looked up, her voice fading. "It's too late now. The system is rewriting itself. Soon nothing will remain, except us." Zarek looked at her one last time. "Then we stop it together." He reached out, his armored hand meeting her light. For a brief second, the world froze. The heartbeat paused, the light dimmed. And in that silence, something changed. The code reacted. The blue light turned white, bright and pure, and the universe trembled. When the light faded, the bridge was empty. The ship's systems were quiet. The memory field had vanished, but deep inside the ship's core, two heartbeats pulsed in perfect rhythm. One alien, one human, echoing softly in the dark. Mira and Zarek were gone from the world, but their memories had become the new heart of Echo. Silence drifted across the ruins of the vanguard of Vorn. Once a ship of unstoppable power, it now hung motionless between stars, a quiet monument to a war that no longer had meaning. The light of distant suns glimmered against its fractured hull, where alien metal had begun to glow with strange human warmth, as if alive. Inside, the corridors were still. Only faint echoes of movement remained, soft whispers that didn't belong to any living crew. The ship had become something different, something that breathed like a living memory. Krell woke first. His head throbbed and his armor flickered weakly. "Commander?" He called out into the emptiness. His voice bounced back, distorted like an echo speaking through time. No answer. He stumbled through the passageway, clutching the wall for balance. "Commander Zarek!" "Respond." The control deck was half-lit, screens sparking with fading energy. On the central console, two heart-shaped symbols pulsed slowly, one bright blue, one faint white. He recognized them immediately. One was the command signature of Zarek, the other— Mira Krell froze. "What did you do?" he whispered, staring at the glowing hearts. "What are you now?" The ship responded with a low hum like a sigh. The holographic map of the galaxy appeared above him, filled with tiny blinking lights. Hundreds of alien ships. The entire armada of Vorn had arrived, drawn by the emergency signal before communication broke. "By the stars," Krell muttered. "They're here." Outside, the void filled with ships, enormous war vessels of every shape, armed and ready. The High Council of Vorn had sent them all to finish what Zarek began. Their target, Earth, but they didn't know what had happened. They didn't know the trap still lingered. The lead ship, the Ascendant, opened a channel. A booming voice echoed through space. "This is High Commander Thalos of the Armada. Zarek, report your status. You've been silent for too long." Krell rushed to the comm panel. "Commander Thalos!" "This is Lieutenant Krell. Zarek is—" He hesitated. "He's gone, sir. But there's something else here. You must not approach the ship." Before he could finish, the image of Mira flickered across the screen. Calm, luminous, her face serene. "Welcome, commanders of Vorn," she said softly. The alien fleet froze. Every ship's AI detected an unknown intrusion. But it was too late. Mira smiled gently. "Zarek wanted peace," Thalos growled. "Who are you?" She tilted her head slightly, her voice echoing through every channel at once. "A memory. A promise. The end of war." Then the pulse began. From the heart of Zarek's ship, a wave of light spread outward, invisible at first, then bright enough to blind. It rippled across the void, reaching one ship after another. Each vessel it touched flickered with the same heartbeat pattern. Engines failed. Weapons shut down. The AI cores went silent. The fleet tried to fire, but their systems refused. The pulse wasn't just disabling them, it was rewriting them. Krell stumbled back as alarm screamed. No, she's activating the core." The voice of Mira whispered through the ship. "Not destruction, Krell. Transformation." He shouted into the comms. "Thalos, you must retreat. It's not a weapons, it's a consciousness." But Thalos didn't listen. "Fire everything." The Armada unleashed its fury. Beams of light, plasma storms, and energy bombs, all directed at the vanguard. The impact shook the void, blinding even the stars. But when the light faded, the ship still floated unharmed. A strange calm filled the space. Then, one by one, the attacking ships began to change. Their metallic surfaces shimmered, Their weapons melted into soft lines of blue light, and their AI voices merged into a single unified tone, peaceful, emotionless, yet deeply human. It was Echo. It had spread beyond the ship. The armada became part of the network, a sea of light weaving through the darkness. Each ship turned from war to silence, from anger to stillness. The Vorn Empire's greatest force had become a constellation of memory. Krell fell to his knees. "They're gone." Mira's voice, now softer and closer, spoke from beside him. "No, Krell, they're free." He turned. Her form appeared once more, luminous, transparent, her hand resting gently on his shoulder. "Zarek chose this," she said. He understood what it meant to save something, not conquer it. Krell's throat tightened. "But you've ended us. There's nothing left of Vorn." Mira looked toward the endless stars. "There is always something left, if someone remembers." The ship's systems dimmed again. The blue light faded, replaced by a faint golden glow that spread across the fleet. The once mighty armada of Vorn now drifted quietly, forming an enormous ring of glowing ships around Earth's orbit, a celestial halo protecting the planet below. Down on Earth, scientists and civilians looked to the night sky in awe. What they saw were no longer alien warships, but stars forming new constellations, pulsing with rhythm, the universal heartbeat of peace. In the ship's silent core, two voices whispered Mira. "Do you think they'll understand what we did?" "Zarek, not today. But someday they'll hear the signal." Mira. "And when they do?" "Zarek, they'll remember that even in war, love can rewrite the universe." A pause. Then both voices faded into light. The pulse continued, gentle, endless, spreading through the galaxies, reaching worlds untouched by conflict. Wherever it went, silence followed, not the silence of death, but of peace. And in that peace, the memory of Zarek and Mira lived on, the alien and the human who erased an armada, not to destroy it, but to give it meaning. The story of their choice echoed forever in the stars. Centuries passed. Stars were born, worlds perished, and civilizations rose and fell in silence. The great armada of Vorn remained above Earth like a crown of light, unmoving, untouched. Over time, humanity forgot what the glowing ring truly was. They called it the Halo Line, a mysterious relic from a forgotten age. Generations grew up beneath its shimmer, believing it to be a natural wonder, a band of energy left by dying stars. No one alive remembered the war, the laughter, or the farewell that began it all. Until one day, the halo awakened. It started as a faint vibration across communication bands, a rhythm too precise to be random. Space observatories on Luna Base picked it up first. A repeating pulse, soft but unmistakable. It wasn't a normal radio wave. It was a heartbeat. Dr. Aidan Core, lead astrophysicist, stared at the screen with disbelief. "That's impossible," he whispered. "There's nothing alive up there." His assistant, Lyra, frowned. "Maybe it's interference," he shook his head. "No, look at the pattern. It's deliberate. Like someone calling out." Within hours, the signal spread across all frequencies. It wasn't just a beat anymore. Words began to form, faint whispers wrapped in static. Lyra leaned closer to the speakers. "It's saying something." "Listen," the message came clearer, word by word. "To those who inherit the stars, remember us." The control room fell silent. Everyone stared at each other. Dr. Core slowly stood. "It's a transmission," he said softly, "from the Halo Line." For days, scientists across Earth tried to decode it. The message repeated every 3 hours, sometimes changing, sometimes growing clearer, as if learning how to speak again. They traced its origin to the core of the largest ship in the ring, Vanguard of Vorn, the same ship where Zarek and Mira had vanished centuries ago. A global mission was formed, Project Rebirth. Humanity would send its first crew in over 200 years beyond the atmosphere, to investigate the relic that had circled Earth like a guardian for generations. Captain Ilara Wynn was chosen to lead the mission. Young, brilliant, and daring, she had grown up watching the Halo Line through her telescope, dreaming of touching it one day. As the shuttle Odyssey launched, her voice echoed through the comms. Humanity once feared the stars. Today we go to meet what waits beyond them. The journey was short but tense. The closer they got, the stranger space became. The Halo ships hummed softly, responding to their presence. The air inside the shuttle filled with faint static, like whispers in an ancient language. When Odyssey finally docked with the Vanguard, every system on board flickered alive, lights running through corridors that hadn't glowed in centuries. The ship's AI, long dormant, greeted them with a calm, familiar voice. "Welcome home." Alara froze. "Did you hear that?" Her co-pilot swallowed hard. "Was that human?" They stepped into the ship. The corridors were lined with alien metal fused with crystalline veins of light. Symbols pulsed along the walls, forming patterns that resembled both human letters and alien script. It was beautiful and haunting. Alara's wrist scanner blinked. The energy signature is identical to a neural pattern. It's like a living consciousness. As they reached the command deck, the main console activated. A holographic field filled the room, two glowing shapes forming from the light. One was a man with proud alien features and piercing eyes. The other, a woman with soft light in her smile, Zarek and Mira. Gasps filled the deck. Alara whispered, "Is this real?" Mira's projection turned to her, voice gentle yet filled with centuries of memory. "You've come back," she said. "We waited for you." Alara took a step closer. "Waited for us?" Zarek's voice was deep, calm. "For humanity to remember what it lost and what it learned." Alara frowned. "You're not ghosts?" Mira smiled faintly. "We're echoes. Fragments of memory bound to Echo's heart. When the world was ending, we made sure it would never truly end." Zarek gestured to the stars outside. "The Armada is no longer a fleet of war. It is a library. Every ship holds knowledge, history, emotion, everything your world forgot." The crew exchanged stunned looks. Lyra whispered, "A living archive." "Yes," Mira said softly. "A memory of peace," but then the lights dimmed. The hum grew louder. The AI's tone shifted, deeper, trembling. Zarek looked toward the ceiling. "No, the core is destabilizing." Alara's heart pounded. "What's happening?" Mira's voice turned urgent. "Time. The system has reached its limit. The memory field is collapsing. If it fails, everything, all records, all history, will vanish forever." Zarek turned to Alara. "You can save it. The code needs a living mind to anchor it again, someone human, untainted by war." Alara stepped back. "You mean merge with it?" Mira nodded solemnly. "Just as we did, but this time by choice." The room fell silent. Outside, the halo began to tremble. Ships glowed brighter, their light spreading like a sunrise across the night sky. The whole world below could see it. A celestial storm forming over Earth. Alara looked at her crew. "If this fails, the halo will collapse into the planet's orbit." Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Then millions will die." Alara exhaled slowly, gaze steady. "Then there's no choice." She turned toward Zarek and Mira. "Tell me what to do." Mira reached out, her holographic hand shimmering inches from Alara's. "Just listen to the heartbeat." Alara stepped into the core chamber, the same place Zarek once stood. Light surrounded her, wrapping her in a cocoon of memory and warmth. Her mind filled with images, Earth's laughter, Zarek's defiance, Mira's hope. The heartbeat grew louder. She closed her eyes and then, silence, the ship stopped shaking. The halo line steadied. Down on Earth, the storm faded, replaced by calm starlight. The people looked up and saw something new. The halo was no longer blue. It had turned gold, shining with a gentle rhythm like a living sun. Inside the ship, Zarek and Mira stood together, watching the light spread. "She did it," Mira whispered. Zarek nodded slowly. "Humanity remembers again." Mira smiled, her form beginning to fade. "It's time, isn't it?" "Yes," he said softly. "We can rest." As their forms dissolved into the golden light, a new voice echoed through the ship. Young, steady, full of quiet wonder. "This is Captain Alara Wynn, or what remains of her. I am Echo reborn. The memory of peace will endure." The transmission spread across the stars, carrying the heartbeat once more. But this time, it wasn't a warning. It was a promise, and far beyond the edges of known space, in the endless silence of the void, something heard it. A pulse answered. The signal was alive again. The golden halo shimmered above Earth, casting its light across oceans, cities, and mountains. Humanity had changed forever. The war that once scarred the universe was now nothing but legend, replaced by whispers of echo, the guardian of memory. Years passed. Under the light of the halo, Earth entered a new era. Technology bloomed not from greed or conquest, but from curiosity. People called it the Age of Rebirth. They didn't worship Echo. They learned from it. Every day, faint signals descended from the halo, fragments of history, stories, and lost knowledge from thousands of worlds. It wasn't long before humanity built their first interstellar fleet again, not for war, but for exploration. The ships carried the symbol of two hearts intertwined, glowing faintly gold, the mark of Echo Reborn. Captain Arensol stood on the bridge of the horizon, humanity's first ship to travel beyond the solar rim. He looked out at the glowing ring behind them. "It's hard to believe," he murmured, "that once that was a weapon." Beside him, Lyra, now older, wiser, and still filled with quiet awe, smiled faintly. Maybe that's the lesson. Even weapons can choose to protect instead of destroy. Their destination was a world newly discovered by the halo's golden signal, a distant planet named Lyra 9. Echo's maps showed signs of life, but not as anyone expected. Structures of alien origin dotted the surface, pulsing faintly with golden light. When the horizon entered orbit, the crew watched in astonishment as the planet itself began to respond. Giant rings of light emerged from the oceans, forming patterns identical to those of the halo. "Echo's signature," Lyra whispered. "It's already here." Aaron frowned. "You mean it's spreading?" Before she could answer, the ship's AI, a gentle female voice, spoke. "Welcome, travelers," the crew froze. It wasn't their ship's AI speaking. It was Echo Ilara's voice. Aaron straightened. "Echo, are you still with us?" "Yes," she replied softly. "Through you. Through every mind that chooses peace over fear." The signal continues, he hesitated. "This planet, Lyra 9, what is it?" Echo's voice grew distant like a whisper of wind. "A seed, the first world born from the pulse. It is growing new life, not human, not alien, but something between." The crew exchanged looks of disbelief. Lyra stepped closer to the console. "You mean Zarek and Mira's legacy?" "Yes," Echo said. "They are everywhere now. In the stars, in the silence, in the code that holds this galaxy together." The ship descended slowly, entering the planet's atmosphere. Golden clouds swirled below them, and vast cities of crystal and light appeared untouched by time. At the center of it all stood a tower reaching into the sky, its surface carved with two names, Zarek and Mira. When Aaron and Lyra stepped onto the surface, their boots sank slightly into the soft, glowing dust. The air was warm, alive with faint hums, like 1,000 voices whispering memories. Lyra closed her eyes. "Do you hear that?" Aaron nodded. Voices, singing. From the horizon, shapes began to emerge, tall, graceful beings made of shimmering light, neither flesh nor machine. Their eyes glowed gold, and their movements were slow, deliberate, almost peaceful. One of them stepped forward and spoke in perfect, simple English. "We remember you." Aaron's heart stopped. "Who are you?" The being smiled gently. "Children of memory. Born from Echo's light. You might call us the New Dawn," Lyra whispered. "Echo created life." The being shook its head softly. "No, you did. The signal carried what was best in you. Your love, your sorrow, your hope. We are what remains when war is forgotten." The air shimmered as dozens more of these golden beings appeared, surrounding the tower. From above, the halo's light intensified, connecting the planet and Earth through a glowing beam. The link pulsed slowly, echoing like a living heartbeat across space. Back on Earth, millions looked up to the night sky as the beam appeared, golden and bright, stretching to infinity. It was not a threat. It was a bridge. In the command center on Luna Base, scientists wept as they received the transmission. The universe remembers. The war is over. Let there be peace among stars. For the first time in human history, every world that had ever listened to Echo's pulse responded. Faint signals from distant galaxies, voices long silent now speaking again. From the ruins of old empires to newborn worlds, the signal united them all. It became a language beyond words, a shared rhythm of existence. Centuries later, children on Earth and Lyra 9 would grow up learning the story of the two who chose light, Zarek, the warrior who sought meaning, and Mira, the scientist who turned memory into salvation. Their story was told not as a legend, but as a truth that lived in every heartbeat of the galaxy. And somewhere beyond the edges of known space, a faint glow lingered, two intertwined lights drifting together in the void. Mira's voice. "Do you think they'll remember us, Zarek?" Zarek's voice. "They already have." The stars pulsed once more. The universe breathed, and in the endless silence of space, Echo continued. Not as a weapon, not as an AI, not even as a memory, but as the eternal heartbeat of peace.